My friends, let me share with you one of life's most profound truths. Excellence is not an event, it's a lifestyle. It's not about that one shining moment when all eyes are upon you. No, excellence is built in the quiet moments, in the small decisions you make when nobody's watching, in the daily disciplines that most people simply won't embrace. You see, most folks have it all wrong. They think success is about luck, about being born with some special gift, about having the right connections or the perfect circumstances. But I've spent decades studying successful people, and I can tell you this, the people who achieve lasting success, the ones who rise to the top and stay there, they all have one thing in common. They've mastered the art of daily excellence. Now let me ask you something. What if I told you that your entire life could change by simply changing how you start each day? Would you believe me? Well, it's true. Excellence begins before the world wakes up. It begins when you take control of those precious first moments of your day. The wealthy understand this principle. The successful understand this principle. They don't stumble out of bed and react to whatever life throws at them. No, they wake up with intention. They start their day with purpose, not by accident. Here's what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. The extraordinary have learned to win the morning. If you can win the morning, you can win the day. And if you can win enough days, you can win a lifetime. But most people, they hit that snooze button. And let me tell you something about that snooze button. Every time you hit it, you're training yourself to procrastinate. You're conditioning yourself to break the very first commitment you make each day. And that lack of discipline, that willingness to negotiate with yourself, it carries over into everything else you do. The successful person gets up immediately when that alarm sounds. No debate, no negotiation, no just 5 more minutes. They understand that discipline is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. And it starts with that very first decision of the day. I remember when I first learned this lesson, I was struggling, making excuses, hitting that snooze button like everyone else. But then I met a millionaire who changed my perspective. He said, "Jim, show me how you start your day and I'll show you how your life will end up." That was a wake-up call I'll never forget. You see, your morning routine is like compound interest for your personal development. Small disciplines practiced daily create massive results over time. The person who wakes up early, exercises, reads, and plans their day isn't just getting a head start. They're building a foundation that will support them for life. Now let's talk about focus, because your attention is your most valuable asset. Whatever you focus on expands. Focus on problems, and you'll create more stress. Focus on distractions, and you'll waste precious time and energy. But focus on growth, on execution, on results, and your actions will align with success. Most people never train their focus. They wake up with good intentions, but by day's end, they wonder where their time went. That's not how excellence works. Excellence requires deliberate control over what gets your attention. The successful person doesn't let every phone call, every text message, every interruption pull them away from their mission. They create what I call blocks of brilliance, uninterrupted time where they can do their best work. They understand that distractions don't just waste time. They drain the very energy you need to create something meaningful. Here's a lesson I learned early in my career. You must be ruthless with your time and generous with your heart. Guard your focus like it's the most precious thing you own, because it is. The person who can focus for extended periods will accomplish more in a few hours than most people do in a week. I once knew a businessman who made millions by following one simple rule. From 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., he was unreachable. No phone calls, no meetings, no interruptions. Those 4 hours of focused work built his empire. He understood that success isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. But focus alone isn't enough. You need discipline, real discipline. And let me tell you the difference between motivation and discipline. Motivation is like a warm bath. It feels good, but it doesn't last. Discipline, on the other hand, is like a cold shower. It's not always pleasant, but it wakes you up and gets you moving. Most people wait for motivation. They wait until they feel inspired, until the conditions are perfect, until they're in the mood. And that's why they stay stuck, because motivation is temporary and unpredictable. But discipline is permanent. Discipline is something you build, something you develop, something you can count on. The secret to building discipline is to eliminate negotiation. The successful person doesn't wake up and debate whether they should go to the gym. They don't question whether they should work on their goals. They've made the decision once and they never debate it again. And you see, every time you negotiate with yourself, you weaken your resolve. But every time you follow through without debate, you strengthen it. The person of excellence doesn't ask how they feel. They don't wait for the right moment. They simply do what needs to be done because it's who they are. I learned this lesson the hard way. For years, I would make grand plans and noble resolutions only to abandon them when things got tough. I was living in the world of someday. Someday I'll get in shape. Someday I'll read more books. Someday I'll take better care of my finances. But someday never comes unless you make it today. The turning point came when I realized that discipline isn't about willpower, it's about identity. When you see yourself as the kind of person who follows through, who keeps commitments, who does what they say they'll do, discipline becomes automatic. You don't have to force yourself to be disciplined, you just are. Now here's where most people fail. They start strong but can't stay consistent. They get excited, they commit to new habits, they feel unstoppable. But then life happens. Their energy dips, they miss a day, then 2 days, then 3. And before they know it, they're back where they started. Excellence isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. It's better to do something small every single day than to go all out for a week and then quit. The highest achievers aren't necessarily the ones who work the hardest in short bursts. They're the ones who show up day after day, regardless of how they feel. Most people fail because they expect results too quickly. They work hard for a few weeks, but when they don't see immediate progress, they assume it's not working. But success doesn't work that way. Success is like the Chinese bamboo tree. You plant it, water it, fertilize it for 4 years, and nothing happens. But in the 5th year, it grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. The results don't come right away. They compound over time. And if you quit too soon, you never reach the breakthrough. The people who achieve excellence understand this. They don't stop because they don't see results immediately. They keep going because they trust the process. I remember reading about a study of people who achieved extraordinary success. The researchers found that these individuals all shared one common trait. They were willing to delay gratification. They understood that the seeds of success planted today might not bear fruit for months or even years, but they planted them anyway. Here's another truth that might sting a little. Your standards determine your results. You don't get what you want in life, you get what you tolerate. If you accept mediocrity, that's exactly what you'll experience. But if you demand excellence from yourself, your life will rise to meet that standard. Most people lower their standards to match their environment. They adapt to the people around them. If they work in a lazy culture, they start making excuses. If they surround themselves with small thinkers, they start thinking small. But excellence isn't about adapting to your environment. It's about setting your own standard regardless of what's happening around you. Your personal standards determine how you show up every day. If your standard is to do the bare minimum, that's exactly what you'll do. But if your standard is to perform at your highest level, no matter the circumstances, you'll separate yourself from the majority. The mistake most people make is letting their feelings dictate their standards. They say, I'll do it when I feel ready, or I'll put in more effort when the results start coming. But that's backwards. Excellence is built by sticking to your standards, especially when the motivation isn't there. Let me share something that changed my life. Discipline is doing the right thing when no one would know if you didn't. It's pushing yourself even when there's no immediate reward. It's holding yourself to a higher level even when no one else does. That's what separates the great from the average. I once had a mentor who told me, Jim, character is what you do when no one is watching. That simple statement transformed how I approached every aspect of my life. When you maintain high standards in private, excellence in public becomes natural. Now, speed of execution. This is crucial. Most people hesitate. They overthink. They second guess. They analyze every possible outcome before making a move. And in that hesitation, opportunities are lost, momentum is killed, progress is delayed. And the people who win in life aren't necessarily the ones who make the perfect decisions. They're the ones who make fast decisions. They don't wait for all the stars to align. They act. And because they act, they create momentum. Hesitation is a habit. Every time you delay, every time you put off a decision, you reinforce the pattern of inaction. But if you build the habit of moving immediately, the moment you know something needs to be done, you condition yourself to be someone who takes action. And the biggest lie people tell themselves is that they need more time to think, more time to plan, more time to prepare. But most of the time, thinking more doesn't lead to better decisions. It leads to no decision at all. It leads to analysis paralysis. Here's what I've learned. Most of the time, you already know what needs to be done. Your instincts tell you, your experience tells you. But instead of acting, you hesitate. You let doubt creep in. You let fear of making the wrong choice paralyze you. The most successful people trust their instincts. They know that even if they make a wrong move, they can adjust. They don't fear mistakes because they understand that mistakes are part of the learning process. As one successful entrepreneur told me, "I'd rather make a quick decision and be wrong than make no decision and be sure." Finally, let me talk about mental toughness, because excellence isn't just about skill, it's about resilience. It's about how well you handle pressure, adversity, and setbacks. No matter how talented you are, no matter how hard you work, life will test you. Challenges will come, obstacles will appear, and if you don't have the mental strength to push through, you'll break under the pressure. Most people today are soft. The moment things get hard, they fold. The moment they experience discomfort, they quit. The moment they face failure, they retreat. And that's why they never reach their full potential, because they give up too soon. Mental toughness is the ability to keep moving forward no matter what, to perform at a high level even when you don't feel like it, to stay focused on your goals even when nothing seems to be working, to push past pain, frustration, and fatigue because you refuse to settle for less than you're capable of. The fastest way to build mental toughness is to put yourself in difficult situations on purpose. Do hard things every day. Challenge yourself in ways that force you to grow, because the more you expose yourself to difficulty, the stronger you become. The more you push past your limits, the more you realize that your limits were never real to begin with. I learned about mental toughness during my early years of struggle. When I was broke and facing one setback after another, I had two choices: give up or get tough. I chose to get tough. Every obstacle became a teacher. Every failure became a lesson. Every setback became a setup for a comeback. My friends, excellence is not something you chase. It's something you become. Every single day, you're either reinforcing habits of mediocrity or training yourself for greatness. There is no in-between. The difference between those who win and those who don't isn't luck, isn't natural talent, isn't intelligence. It's the daily commitment to excellence. It's the choice to show up and operate at a high level no matter the circumstances, no matter the obstacles, no matter how you feel in the moment. Success is not about what you do once, it's about what you do every single day. It's about how you wake up in the morning, how you guard your focus, the discipline you enforce, the standards you uphold, and the way you carry yourself even when no one is watching. Excellence is not a skill, it's an identity. And the moment you decide to make it a way of life, everything changes. Your confidence grows, your results accelerate, your mindset strengthens. You stop being controlled by distractions, hesitation, or temporary emotions. You start leading your life with purpose, with execution, with an unshakable commitment to mastery. The people who succeed aren't waiting for the perfect moment. They're not waiting to feel motivated. They're not waiting for permission. They make the decision right now to operate at a higher level, to set the standard, to show up differently. And that decision, my friends, is yours to make. You don't need more time. You don't need more information. You don't need to wait for anything else. The only thing that matters is what you do today, the action you take, the standards you enforce, the way you execute right now. So I ask you, will you choose excellence? Not just today, not just when it's easy, but every single day? The choice is yours and the time is now. Remember, you are the architect of your own destiny. You hold the pen that writes your story. Make it a story worth telling.